Hi, my name is Konstantin Baum. I'm a master of wine and I've been challenged to a blind tasting. My intern Leon, who has been working for my company for the last few months, has picked two wines and I've picked two wines that we're going to blind taste and identify. All wines were put into randomly numbered bottles so that we can tell the wine from the bottle shape and don't know which ones are Leon's and which ones are mine. So it might happen that we get our own wines confused, which would be kind of embarrassing. I can win points if I correctly identify Leon's wines and vice versa. You get 2 points for the correct grape variety, country, region, vintage and price point, and you can get 1 point if you're close with the vintage and the price point. We will taste the wine separately and reveal the scores in the end. Those are the rules, so let's do this. So you might think that this challenge is a bit unfair, but Leon is not only my intern, he's also a very talented taster. So Leon, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi guys, I'm Leon. I'm studying international wine business and yeah, I really love drinking wine and tasting it.
And you love being an intern for me,
That's on the best company on earth, yeah, definitely.
Excellent. So Leon, what got you interested in wine and do you want to become a master of wine?
I got interested in wine because there's like always something to learn and it's just very, like my passion, it's just a very interesting topic for me. But I'm not sure if I want to follow the path of a master of wine. We'll see. I'm not sure about that.
So the few months with me turned him off of becoming a master of wine, clearly. So before we start the tasting, you have to decide which weapon you want to use. I'm pretty sure which glass I will use, but which one do you want?
I would love to be as self-confident to take this glass, but I think that will not work for today. So I'm going for the Gabriel this time.
Excellent choice. I'm going for my trusted Riedel champagne glass. I'm going to start the tasting and Leon has to get out of the room and he will come back and then do the tasting after I've finished and then we'll come back for the big reveal in the end. So get out of here. This is wine number 1 and like I told you, the wine is not in its original bottle, so I don't get any clues from the bottle shape. I will have to rely on my nose and my palate, so let's fill that glass. I like to rinse my glass to make sure that there's nothing in there that might change the smell or the taste of the wine. So I just pour out this little sip and now it's go time. The wine is pretty aromatic, so I can already say that this is definitely an aromatic grape variety. It smells a little bit of ripe apple, peach. There's also a little bit of a tropical note, so there's a little bit of pineapple flavor in there as well. So quite aromatic, and the flavors already kind of point me in one direction, which is Riesling. Oh, this is beautiful. This is quite fresh and vibrant. The acidity is intense. There's also quite a lot of sweetness there. So there's a good balance between sweetness and acidity. And sweetness is quite nice in a blind tasting because it already narrows down the list of options quite significantly. This could now be a Chenin Blanc or Riesling, but I was already very much in the Riesling camp and this kind of confirmed it to me. The acidity is just very, very fresh and sharp. There's good texture there. There are great Rieslings coming from all parts of the world today, but for me this feels very much like a German Riesling. The quality is just very high. The balance between the sweetness and the acidity is great. So this feels for me like something that could only come from one part of Germany, from the Mosel. Because of this balance, the stylistic expression just feels very much like a Mosel Riesling. So I'm going Riesling, Germany, Mosel. The vintage should be 2016 and the price, I think it's pretty cheap. Even though this is a great wine, but Mosel cabinets tend to be really, really cheap. So I would say this is maybe 15 euros.
So yeah, we'll start with bottle number 1 and see what's in there. So the wine got like a pretty bright, lightly oxidized color. I'm pretty sure that's my wine because it has that very distinct lemon zest, green tea, like sweet notes. It's very fresh actually, although it might have a few years, I do know it has a few years of age because I chose the wine. But you kind of feel it's getting a little bit more, more complex everything, and I quite like that. It's the 2016 Maximin Grünhäuser Abtsberg Kabinett, which is a wine that really got me into the Mosel area, and I'm a huge fan of this like very precise, very juicy, delicate style of white wine from Germany. And I think this is like the perfect example of how this wine style should be.
So let's move on to wine number 2, which should be my wine. But let's see, maybe there's a third white wine in the tasting. So this is the wine I picked. It's a classic. It smells of gooseberries, a little bit of nettles as well. There are green flavors coming through. It's very aromatic, a really aromatic grape variety. Again, a very clean and clear wine. It should be fairly easy to identify, especially because Leon has worked in the country where this wine is from. It is a Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand, so a very distinct wine style. And I'm hoping that Leon gets this. It's very fresh and vibrant. It's not the most exotic Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc. It's a little bit leaner, a little bit more on the freshness, but it's a beautiful, very clean wine.
So the wine is quite aromatic. There's a very, very bright fruit aromas and like those very distinct gooseberry fruit. And in the mouth, it's quite acidic. It has not too much texture. It's quite linear, although like it has great acidity, which leads me to Sauvignon Blanc, which is quite nice to have in a blind tasting. But the question is whether it's from France, from New Zealand, or from anywhere else in the world. So I think this wine is from New Zealand. I think it's a Sauvignon Blanc. I think it's from the Nelson region. I'm guessing it's 2019 vintage, and I'm also guessing that the price point is 13 euros.
So we're moving on to wine number 3, which should be a red wine. I think Leon picked a red wine and a white wine, but let's see. So this is a little bit more tricky because I don't know what Leon picked and I haven't really tried the wine that I picked. I just thought I picked this because it's fairly classic, but this feels like the wine that I picked. But let's taste it. In the nose I get quite a lot of cherry fruit, which is present in quite a lot of different grape varieties, for example Sangiovese, but it could also be Tempranillo, which for me is more likely in this case. You also get a little bit of sweetness there, not sweetness in terms of sugar, but more ripe fruit. There's a little bit of candied orange and candied cherry flavor coming through as well. So this points me more towards Tempranillo. You definitely have quite a lot of oak here. There's lots of chocolate there, a little bit of vanilla. And this is very much in line with what I know of Tempranillos from Rioja. So this is quite a concentrated, ripe and intense wine. Grippy tannins, quite a lot of structure as well. It feels very young, but there's quite a lot of oak influence there. So this is really putting me towards Rioja.
So the wine is quite transparent. Like I could see my finger, I could read newspaper through that. And it got like dark berry aromas, some very distinct cherry aromas, some chocolate though too. Not a lot of tannins, but some. A nice acidity and again some woody characters to it. So I'm guessing the wine is from Germany. I could imagine that it's from the Baden area. It's a Pinot from Baden. It's not as elegant as I would imagine a Burgundian wine, although it got a lot of like new woody characters to it, a lot of Burgundian traits. It's a pretty like recent vintage, a pretty warm vintage. Might be, I'm saying 2018, and price-wise, I'm guessing it's about 16 euros.
The last wine, I'm fairly confident that I've got the last 3 wines right, but this wine will tell me whether I was right with the first red wine, because if this smells like Rioja, I'm in trouble. So I'm lucky. This definitely doesn't feel like a Rioja. I know that Leon has a little bit of an interest in natural wines, and this feels a little bit like the winemaker is working very close to nature, or doesn't really add a lot of SO2 to its wines. The color is fairly light, which points me away from some grape varieties and towards others, like Pinot Noir, for example. Grenache can be fairly light in color. Zweigelt in Austria can be fairly light in color as well. Or Gamay, for example. For me, this feels like an old world expression, and it feels really French. It's quite vibrant and lively. The liveliness and freshness could also point towards Italy, but I think the lightness and vibrancy and the aromatic profile points more towards northern France. I think this could be from the Loire in theory, where Cabernet Franc is being produced, but where some really light and fresh and elegant wines come from. But I don't really get the green methoxypyrazine character that you often get in those wines. So this feels more like a Beaujolais. So this is not the Maceration Carbonique kind of Beaujolais, which smells of cherries and bananas. So I'm going Gamay France Beaujolais 2020, and I think this is pretty cheap. I mean, Beaujolais tends to be really cheap, and even though this is a very good example, I think this will be around 15 euros maybe.
I'm pretty sure that's my wine. And I was quite curious to see what Konstantin says to that, because it got a little bit of like a natural wine, funky taste to it, and I really like that. So the wine has very clear fruit aromas. For me, it's a very distinct cassis, blueberry aroma type of thing. Got a little bit of that barnyard funk, which I like. It's not too much, but it's there. It's good amounts of tannins, good amount of acidity. But you feel it's a little bit green, like it got harvested early. But it's a wine style I very much like, and I enjoy drinking when it shouldn't be too complex, just, having fun, stuff like that.
Okay, this is exciting. Now we are on to the big reveal, and I'm not 100% sure whether I got the wines right.
Yeah,
are you?
Me neither, no.
Okay, but I'm pretty sure you did a great job, and let's check out the wines. So wine number 1, it's backed up to make it a little bit more exciting, so let's see what is in the bag. And it's the 2016 Riesling Kabinett from the Mosel. So I got 4 scores on that one.
Yeah, I also got 4 scores on that
one. Well done. But your scores don't count.
It's also my wine.
But I'm really happy about this. A very distinctive, very clean, very clear, very precise style. So wine number 2 was my wine. And what did you say it was?
Nelson Sauvignon Blanc from 2019.
Well done, but not quite. Very close. Very close. So it's the 2020 Sauvignon Blanc from Marlborough, which is very close to Nelson, so you did a good job there.
It's okay. But I thought we were both in Nelson doing a harvest there, and I thought you were doing like Nelson then. But Marlborough is obviously like...
Yeah.
Okay.
Marlborough is the classic, and this is a pretty classic wine, Villa Maria. So now on to the red wines. The first one is obviously wine number 3, and I thought that was my wine. I'm pretty sure that was my wine. Yeah. Did you think the same?
Yeah, same.
Okay, that's good already. So what did you say it was?
Pinot Noir from Baden. I'm not sure if it's Baden, but...
It's actually a bit of a lateral for Pinot. It is a Tempranillo. It's a Rioja Reserva, 2016. And I actually thought you liked Spanish wine so much, so I kind of thought I'll pick this. Don't beat yourself up. This has happened to me lots of times before, so it's not entirely wrong. You're in the right continent, that's for sure.
That's like a third of a point here.
So now let's see whether I failed on the 4th wine, which was Leon's wine then apparently. And this is for the money, because I think, well, I don't know whether you can still win it, but
sure,
it's close at least. So let's see. If I'm completely wrong on this wine, then you might still win the prize.
I'm quite excited for that one. Yeah.
So let's see. I actually said it's a Beaujolais.
Oh, it's not Beaujolais.
Oh, damn it. Damn it. So... okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm completely wrong on that one. This is from Germany. It's a Lemberger, but a Lemberger with 11% of alcohol, so a very light one. I'm also in the right continent, but that's pretty much it. So we actually have to count the points now to see who has won, the intern or the master of wine. Let's see. Okay, the score is in and looks like I won.
Yeah.
So I got this, but you did a really, really good job. I promised him a bottle of champagne if he wins. Maybe I'll still open a bottle of champagne. Let's see. So thank you for watching. If you like this video, then please like it down here. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. My question of the day is, did you like this format? Should I do more blind tasting games? Just comment down below. I hope I see you guys again soon. Until then, stay thirsty, right?
Yeah, chin chin.
Cheers.